Hi, Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. This is episode 251. And if you know the show, you know what time it is. It's time for our monthly insights with the wonderful Christina Slaback. Now, normally this is a conversation. Christina and I sit down together and we talk it through. She pulls a card and we riff off each other in real time. But this month is a little different. Our schedules didn't align for us to come together and record live. So instead of skipping it or forcing something that wasn't ready to happen, we did something new. We each recorded our reflections separately on our own, and I've brought them together for you here. Honestly, I love that this happened because it fits so perfectly with what's been coming through all year. This year has brought a different kind of energy, challenging, transformational, and not always in the ways we expect. And one thing I keep coming back to is this: growth isn't only about forward expansion and momentum. Sometimes growth asks us to pause, to reflect, to integrate what we've already lived through, to align, to realign, or even pivot, maybe take a left where you'd normally take a right. So, this month's format, us stepping back, reflecting separately, and coming together in a different way, is actually a perfect little embodiment of that lesson. Sometimes you don't get the version of togetherness you planned for, and that's not a loss. It's an invitation to find connection in a new shape. This is exactly why I love these monthly insights so much. They're a built-in pause, I could say that. A monthly check-in with ourselves and each other. A moment to ask, what have I outgrown? What am I ready to release? What's asking to be realigned? All right, let's get to this month's question. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, certified Angel Reiki Master, intuitive guide, author of Make Ease Your Vibe, and creator of the Home Frequency Reset. This is Intuitive Wisdom, where we explore the connection between energy, intuition, spirituality, and the spaces we live in, so you can create more peace, clarity, and delicious ease in your home, your heart, and your life. All right, this month's question. What is one belief you had early on that you no longer believe? I'll be honest with you, Sparkles. When I sat down to reflect on this, I couldn't narrow it down to just one. So I'm giving you 3. First one, old belief. Things happen to me and I have no control. For so long, and this was part of my conditioning in the world I grew up in, I moved through life feeling like things were simply happening to me, like I was on the receiving end of circumstance, without much say, if any, in the matter. It's a belief that can make you feel small and powerless, right? You are then giving your power away. So my new belief, things are happening for me. That single shift in preposition changed everything. When I started asking, what is this for, instead of why is this happening to me, everything reorganized. And that's a scary shift at first, because then you also have to own it, right? You have to take responsibility. But within that responsibility is opportunity. Challenges become invitations. Setbacks become redirections. It didn't mean that everything felt good. It meant that everything felt meaningful, right? The universe is conspiring for your best interest, even if you can't see it at first. It is there for you. And that made all the difference. All right, my second old belief. Alignment requires action and control. I used to believe that if I wasn't doing something, pushing, planning, controlling the outcome, managing, I wasn't actually working toward alignment. Alignment, in my old belief system, was something you achieved through effort and grip. And if I'm honest, I used to sometimes scoff at people who went for instant gratification, like, the candy that they stock right by the checkout in the store, or whatever it is that's like, a little purchase that's an instant gratification, or something that's a short-term win and not a long-term win. And then I've come to realize that my love of making lists and checking things off my lists is sometimes I get lost in that, and it's just a short-term gratification thing and not a long-term, not an alignment. So my new belief, and one you hear me work through and grow in continually, is that alignment requires presence and allowing. This has definitely been one of the harder shifts from the doing to the being. But if I'm honest, it's because it goes against so much of what we're taught about success, right? That success is the doing of things. But then what comes to mind when I'm saying this is all those examples we hear about of people winning lottery tickets and then not having the being part of it to cope with it, to manage it, to figure it out, to enjoy it. The dichotomy, the difference in their lifestyles in a big win can sometimes be so extreme that there's no way to kind of meet it in the middle, no easy way to meet it in the middle. So I'm understanding that success is not just about getting all those things done, about like burning a path to the greener grass on the other side. It's about learning to be that version of yourself that can handle things. I learned Leonie Dawson taught me a good lesson. I've learned from her a few times of thinking about problems in terms of like numbers. Like, okay, something comes up that needs to be dealt with. Right. Is this a level 2 problem and I'm a level 10 person? Awesome. Let's get it done. Whereas a lot of times our old self, the one, or for me, I'll speak for myself, that where alignment required action for me to line up with that and get it done, it felt like the bigger person almost, so whatever the problem or the issue is, felt like the bigger person in the room, and I just didn't feel equipped to cope, or like the freak out would be distracting and overwhelming instead of taking action and dealing with it. But becoming, right, that presence, being that person who believes it will happen, who knows it's going to happen, who can take care of things, who allows the solutions to come. That is such a big shift, right? And that, in a lot of ways, is success. It's kind of what Christina and I were talking about last month, that we have our eye on the goal, but the goal is really about how you're going to feel when you attain it. It's the being part that is the valuable. So thinking of success that way too, like what is the being? Who do I have to be that success, right? What is, so I can feel it and be it and allow it and enjoy it. So the more I've practiced simply being present, allowing what wants to unfold rather than forcing it into a shape I've predetermined, the more true alignment I've actually experienced and that wonderful flow and ease. It turns out I don't have to grip so tightly. I just have to I have to show up. I have to be present. And I have to allow, right? We've talked about boundaries, we've talked about all these different things, but being present, being you, taking up that space, being comfortable with that allows for the rest of things to swirl around you and not move you so much. You can be and exist together, right? It's not this universe happening to you or you trying to orchestrate everything around you to align to how you want to feel or what you want, right? Just show up, be present, and allow. And then you will recognize what is in alignment with you, with your frequency, when you are your more authentic self. All right, old belief number 3. Ultimately, I am always alone. This one goes deep. For a long time, underneath everything, there was a quiet belief that at the end of the day, in everything I did, it was just me, alone, responsible for figuring it all out by myself. I mean, if we are honest, we have how many gazillion thoughts a day, and nobody will ever know all those, probably for the best, but all those things that we think, right? To some extent, we're a lot in our heads. It feels very lonely. We're all by ourselves. My new belief is I am never alone. Now, if you've listened to intuitive wisdom, spirit guides, angels, loved ones who've crossed over, They are always supporting us, supporting me, supporting you from the other side. It's not something our physical body clearly sees, just like we don't necessarily see the wind, but we see its effects, right? We don't see energy, but we feel its effects, and we get all these beautiful messages from the other side. This belief shift alone has changed how I move through my days, especially on hard days, right? Whether you're asking for help on little things or on big things, it's just when you feel those, and I forget to ask. I know this, and it's a practice. I'm a muscle I'm building, like all of us. But in those moments when it kind of feels too heavy, that's when I remember, oh, right. I can ask for help, right? I can ask for spiritual help. I don't have to go through this panic attack alone. I don't have to figure it all out. I don't have to be scared. Whatever that is that feels in the moment insurmountable, there is always help and support. Support is always available. Just be open to it. Remember, you have it. Ask for help. And there are trillions of angels waiting to help you. All right, 3 beliefs, 3 total orientations of how I move through the world. And I share them not because I think you should adopt them exactly as I have, but because I hope they give you permission to ask the same question of yourself. What did you believe early on that you've quietly or maybe not so quietly let go of? That's this month's invitation. Sit with it, journal on it if that's your practice, and keep an ear out, because in a moment you'll hear Christina's reflections on this very same question, recorded separately, but very much in conversation with mine. Even apart, we're still aligned, and that's the whole point. All right, Sparkles, before we get back to today's conversation and Christina's response, I want to share a few ways that I can support you. If you've ever wondered whether the energy of your home could be affecting your mood, clarity, intuition, or overall well-being, I've created a free interactive quiz. In just a few minutes, you'll discover your home energy type and receive personalized guidance to help create more peace, alignment, and delicious ease in your home and life. And if you're ready to go deeper, I offer home frequency reset sessions where I help clear energetic clutter and realign the energy of your space so it feels more calm, supportive, and aligned with the life you want to create. You can learn more about the quiz, my home frequency reset services, and book a session by visiting my website, deliciousease.com. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Make Ease Your Vibe. It's filled with practical tools, reflections, and insights to help you create more ease, trust yourself more deeply, and live with greater intention. You can find Make Ease Your Vibe on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. All right, let's get back to the episode.
The belief that I had early on that I no longer believe was that I used to hold on to certainty. Growing up, I had a very stark view of right and wrong, and I've always been interested in the truth and in being right. And I held really firmly to my beliefs, arguing for them, bringing them up when no one asked. I was the quintessential know-it-all. And what I thought that certainty was doing for me was that it showed my knowledge base and made me look competent. I was the person people came to for advice, and I'd give it whether they asked for it or not, sure that I was being helpful. But what I actually realized was that as I've gotten older, that all of that certainty about how the world worked, about right and wrong, was colored entirely by my own worldview and perspective. Everyone has their own experiences, abilities, and their lens. And what made perfect and complete sense to me could be completely at odds with how someone else views the world and their lived experience. And the more that I let go of the certainty and that need to be right, the more that I could embrace curiosity. And the more that I saw nuance and gray in things that I used to see in black and white. The more that I learn about the human underneath the behavior, the values, the hopes, the fears, their unique perspective, the more I can show up simply and with understanding. Moving from an ability to see things strictly as black and white to being able to hold space for that nuance has changed the way that I approach the world. It's changed how I coach. It's changed how I view things. And what that curiosity actually gave me was compassion. There's rarely one right answer, and letting go of the idea that there's one right way to see or do things made me more compassionate. Instead of judging people for the way that they handled things or their perspective and viewpoints, it allows me to be more open, to be able to play devil's advocate and look at both sides of an issue, frankly and blatantly, just from a truth perspective of what's visible, not from my perspective of how I think that it should be. And it gave me real competence because by being curious instead of certain, it makes me more knowledgeable, not less. I can see my own blind spots, and I don't let the need to know everything keep me from the ability to make room for another point of view, to change my mind, and to learn that my ideas, my thoughts, and my perspective can grow with me. I don't need to be right all the time because I am allowing myself to be open. And that really is the ability to have that knowledge base. It's given me a sense of awe. Curiosity lets me see the world and the people in it with more reverence, more openness to all the good that's around. I can look at things and be curious about them. I can see things in my life and my worldview, going on a walk, looking at the sky. There are things that I can look at and be able to get curious about. How is it that we are in this little part of this giant cosmic universe? And getting curious about that and being open to that has given me the ability to see myself as just a tiny piece of this much greater puzzle and giving me that sense of awe. And it also allows me to really embrace the fact that life is an adventure. It lets life be a mystery and a journey that I get to enjoy instead of one that I have to fully map in advance. It allows me space and possibility to be able to come through. It allows me to see the ups and downs as just part of the journey. Years ago, when we decided to move back from Florida, we had built a life down there, and we had our second home and moved across the country and back. We had new jobs and higher positions and were completely independent. But we came back right as the housing bubble burst, and Florida was one of the hardest hit places. So we ended up moving in with my in-laws while we sorted out our next move. And the whole thing took so much longer than any of us expected, with emotional and financial ripple effects that followed us for years. And it felt like a giant step backward. This was not the sequence of events in my perfectly crafted vision of our future. And it hit me really hard. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that that was all for the best. It was legitimately hard. But looking back, it's also true that it led us to the home that we have now. And it forced us to get clear on our financial goals and take an honest look at our values and what we actually wanted to spend on. It gave us so many chances to grow. And if I'd been able to meet that circumstance and that move with a bit of curiosity about what might be opening up, instead of just simply feeling like this was a failure and that we must have made bad decisions, I think that it would have saved me a lot of grief during that time. And this isn't about erasing that hard part or making it seem like the glass is half full. It just would have allowed me to leave room for both the sadness and the openness. Showing up with that curiosity gives me that sense that things will potentially be okay. That I don't have to view how things are looking from the outside as the end all and be all. And that ability and that perspective helps to ground me in myself, my feelings, and makes me much less likely to waver into overt depression, grief, or sadness. It allows me the chance to hope and to think about possibility. Not erasing the hard, but allowing both of those things. That's the nuance. And this ability to look at and get curious is how I show up in my coaching now. When people come to me, I show up curious. I listen. I reflect back what I'm hearing. I build a real understanding of what's actually happening and then connect it to the deeper patterns. And I offer advice only when it's asked for, but it comes from this place of trust and groundedness because they feel fully seen. It's not me taking what they're saying, viewing it in a very certain lens, and then spitballing back what I think that they should be doing next. It's really taking their lived experience, making sure that I'm understanding their full perspective before offering some ideas and some tiny experiments to help them to move forward. Because that curiosity over certainty doesn't make me know any less, but it has allowed me to see more. And this is just one of the things that I have noticed as I've grown and I've evolved. And I think for all of us, being able to look back at who we were, how we used to think, how we used to see the world, and notice how we've evolved and changed can be really eye-opening. Even just doing this exercise has allowed me to be able to sit with and to consider who I was before and who I am now, and what that change and what that impact has had on my life.
Isn't that amazing, Sparkles? Christina's insights always bring such depth to our conversations and reflections. And even recorded miles apart on our own separate days, Christina's reflections and mine still found each other in the same spirit. That's what this practice is all about. Pausing, reflecting, integrating, and realigning, together or apart. If this month's question stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Send me a message and tell me, what's a belief you've outgrown? You can email me at support@deliciousease.com. And until next week, stay consistent, stay present, and remember, you are never alone. All the best and lots of sparkles. See ya. Hi, Sparkles. If today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little more peace, clarity, and support. I appreciate your help. To learn more about my home frequency reset services, take the free home energy type quiz, and explore my book, Make Ease Your Vibe. Be sure to visit my website, deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. And remember, Sparkles, peace is possible, your intuition is trustworthy, and creating a life that feels aligned and supported starts right where you are. All the best, and see you soon.